PolishLynx here and welcome to Vanilla Garden Judgment. We have chapter 2, Gardenia, which is titled after the flower that we got to know. It began with a small admiration. That small grain would become a hailstorm, foretold to her, was unknown to this girl at the time. The girl had been born into a snowy village. It was one rural village of many. In winter, roads would easily draw and disappear in fallen snow. It was to that point that plows couldn't keep up. In such a village, there was a child no passerby would rest their eyes on. What? Why? She was average in a bad way. What do you mean? She had no talents. That's bullshit. She had nothing to pride in. Also bullshit. She was reserved, without friends, and had no place to keep her emotions. She spoke infrequently and smiled just as often. She would only seldomly change her expression. Had the girl been gloomy since birth? Or had her parents' divorce at her young age closed her heart? There was no way to tell. Are we learning about her past now that I think about it? So she lived through parents' divorce. I mean, that's, I assume, never a good thing. Unless, I guess, one of the parents would be really, really bad influence. There was no will to live in her eyes, or perhaps it was invisible. The girl, who had no self-confidence, had no choice but to shut herself away. But today was a special day. The girl had packed her carry case to the brim and dragged it with her along the snowy covered road. She was unusually cheerful as her feet crunched the snow beneath her, perhaps because the doors to her destination were opening soon. She was out of breath without realizing. The girl had not gone to school. At the moment she was free. At the moment she was free for the summer and had exchanged her days for nights. I know that feeling. Yet she had forced herself awake for the occasion. Of course, her sleep deprivation caused her headache. Head to age. So headache. There was one reason that she had not given up. She had the goal of showing a novel she had written to a large audience at this event. That had been her reason to keep going on her entire life. Nice. It was a time that a shut-in like her could find value in her life. It was a special stage upon which she could display her individuality. Nice, nice. Let's go, girl. But then again, I feel like something went wrong. When the girl took a pen in hand, just like that, her world grew in size. The girl could create her very own world on top of a white sheet of paper. Her own thoughts, ideas and feelings. She put her whole soul into her writing. She wasn't a pro. She didn't dream of becoming one. Just by going to events in her area and writing in obscurity, if her works were loved by some unnamed reader out there, her world could connect to others. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here, kind of. There was only a bit she desired, a small amount of expectation. The girl's works couldn't be called popular. It was for that reason that the few people that did pick up her works made her heart dance. As long as someone gave her work a look. Just like that, the girl was moved. She felt like she was alive. If she were to be given feedback, she would jump from happiness. She might not have had talent, she might not have been more skilled than most, but what she made was one and only in the world. It was an expression of her individuality. The girl at that time had thought she would like to continue scrape by making a living with writing forever. and ever. So what happened next? The morning was refreshing. When I wait a second, did you dream of that? Weren't you supposed to dream of your life? When I woke up in my room, I was still laying in bed. Then again, he dreamed about the canvas and stuff, right? I did not move. I lay there watching the white curtains blow in the breeze. That's right. Yesterday, not knowing who I was, I came to this strange place. I met a girl in white in a flower field and was taken to a white castle and had met 3 more girls. I should have woken. If I hadn't opened my eyes, I wouldn't have to think over things so hard. My brain grew foggy again. Was it because I had a bad dream? It wasn't a nice dream at all. Like Lilith said, it was a nightmare. It was a bittersweet dream that broke loose parts of my brain I didn't have access to. What would happen to me from now on? Just why was I brought to this place? The girl in white told me that I would have to find it out for myself. Would I ever discover why? There was a part of me that did not want to. Just what would happen to me when I recalled everything? Wasn't it possible that I would go insane? Wasn't it possible that I would crumble underneath the pain in my chest and I'd lose my senses? I did not want that to happen. I was anxious. It was hard to breathe. Someone help me, please! Hey, how long are you gonna sleep, Blanco? Wake up already! Everyone is already eating breakfast! Oh, Lilith, you care about me already? Hey, we could make her blush, right? It was Lilith that came to wake me up. I changed my clothes in a hurry and headed to the cafeteria. I respect that. Shower after you eat. Brush your teeth after you eat. Not before. There are 2 specific reasons that makes sense here. First of all, when you eat, you don't feel the taste of toothpaste on your food. Second of all, your teeth are not getting dirty after eating. Actually, they are, but what do I mean? What I mean is, after you basically brush teeth and eat, you have the dirty teeth again, right? And then you have dirty teeth, you eat, and you clean them. So basically you clean it once. I know people would not clean it for the second time, so it's better to go brush your teeth afterwards. Why am I speaking of that? We surrounded a large dining table and ate breakfast. Meanwhile, eating after you brush teeth, this doesn't have any advantages. There was an aromatic lineup of homemade cooking on the table. But I wasn't very hungry. I would actually eat something. It seemed that I didn't have it in me to eat good food happily at the moment. Unlike me, everyone must have slept well. Sima was eating Soyo's cooking with zest. Lilith was sloth-like as usual, so I didn't pay any attention. This is me in the morning, like sloth completely actually. If I didn't eat the food placed in front of me, it would be rude to the cook. It wasn't anyone's fault that I wasn't hungry anyway. Thinking it wouldn't do to break the atmosphere, I forced myself to put food in my mouth and pretended that it was delicious. What do I mean pretended? It was definitely delicious. Phew, Soya's cookie is the best. Today's no exception. I gotta be grateful I get to be eating this every day. It's delicious. We've got to do this every day. Oh my god. The second option is definitely not a good option, yo. This is definitely a negative comment. It's delicious. I'm glad to see you like it, Blanco. It must be because you were a housewife that you were so good at cooking. Wait, you were married? I need to learn from you. Must be nice to be a housewife. Don't have to work. And you only do chores, right? I should find a nice guy that got married. Okay. Don't look down on housewives, okay? Hold up, Lilith. A housewife is just like any job, you know. Are you forgetting that housework is manual labor? Exactly.
There is no need, Sima. It's the truth. When I was in my home, I only did the chores. Come on, Soyo! You're allowed to get mad when you want to. You don't need to worry about being the newest here, cause it does matter. You're the oldest.
Lily's the worst. Lilith. I want to say Lilith. I don't know why. What did you say? I mean, the you are the oldest part kind of doesn't matter to me, to be fair. But yes, you are allowed to get mad when you want to. It's the truth.
You're all noisy. Shut it, Blanco. I may be a college student, but I'm old enough to be a salary woman, so I get a free pass. And hey, aren't you a school kid, Sima? Age-wise, I mean. Yeah, I am. Well, I dropped out early. Do people really think dropping school early is that bad?
I mean... Let's skip that topic.
That's not the case. There are many ways to live. There is no rule on how one is to live their life.
I mean, I guess as long as you are able to continue on.
You think so? Thanks, so I feel a bit better about now. You're so kind of philosophical. The wisdom must come with age. I want to grow up and be like you, and soon. Oh, I'm not philosophical. I'm not someone teach to be a role model. Oh, Lilith, are you jealous? Don't worry. I love you, Soyo, and Blanco, all equally.
Wait, huh? What?
What are you even saying? I'm not jealous. Hey, that both of you get along quite well.
A ring of smiles formed with Sima in the center. It was a peaceful morning, a peaceful scene just like any would find in a family home played out. I felt as if I had been accepted as a member of this warm family. I had felt better following a girl's conversation. I thought that as long as I had these three with me, I would be able to survive the nightmares. I thought that it could pass like a gentle breeze. And even if I was in pain, I felt as if I could stay smiling. I thought that this happiness would stay. Wait, what do you mean you thought? It didn't? What do you mean? Oi! Ah, we finally meet. The girl was surprised to have someone call out to her in the quaint stadium. It was a thin man that stood in front of her.
Huh?
The man smiled while the girl flustered, did not know what was happening. Aren't you Shima? If I'm wrong, you were dead the last event too.
Yeah, I was, but...
I knew it! Actually, I read your last novel. It really moved me. I thought the author wrote such a magnificent work.
Huh? What? Huh? My writing is magnificent. You must be mistaken.
No, that's the truth. Please, be confident in yourself. I've become a fan of yours. A fan. She couldn't understand what he meant for a moment. And when it hit me, I was shocked.
Hey, what? My fan?
Of course. A person who loved the girl's works had appeared before her. Speaking of fans, let's turn one on. Naturally, it had been the first time she had been told such a thing. It was a clear memory that her hands had shook and the happiness had upset her. Such a goodwill hadn't been bestowed on her until that very moment. The girl felt as if her heart was being cleansed by the man's refreshing smile. Okay. So she was writing. And then she found a fan. After breakfast, both Sima, and Lilith went separate ways. That's right, cleaning, laundry, and cooking. In this castle, each resident had their own chores to complete. What I mean? As I had just arrived, I had yet to be given a role. I was left alone in the cafeteria.
My Blanco, what is the matter?
Soyo, who had been gathering dirty dishes, called out to me when she realized I was there. Huh? Shall I help? Is there anything I could do to help? Let's go... Shall I help?
Oh dear, was that it? There is no need. I imagine you must still be getting used to the new environment. But if you're looking for extra work to lend a hand, why not help Sima? She said that she planned to tidy up the library earlier.
If I wandered without an end goal in mind, I would surely get in someone's way. For now, I would listen to Sayo's advice. Wasn't it Soyo? So it's Sayo? No, it was Soyo. It was definitely Soyo. When I arrived at the library, I came upon Soyo, reading upright. She noticed my presence when I came near and, raising her eyes, smiled her usual smile. What you reading? That book. That book. I don't remember it. Here. What you reading?
Oh, this? The title is Girls Inferno.
What? Is it like a variation of Dante's Inferno or something?
The author has already passed away for... To put it simply, it's about 3 girls who die, but as you read on, you slowly get the whole picture.
I'm getting a little bit suspicious.
Surprised? I read those kinds of old books. There is kind of energy in this author's stuff. It's charming somehow. Girls Inferno. It's bright, ruthless, and beautiful. It's a dark story, but it's hard to put the book down. Before you know it, you read through the whole thing. I wonder how to write something like that. I think about it sometimes. The story we're in right now could be dreamed up. Like the protagonist in this book, you'd be digging up as free crimes and history.
As freeze! Okay. Wait. Do you think what I think?
I wonder if everything here is just someone's imagination. If you aren't just reading some book. You see, you don't know where you are or who you are, like the protagonist in the book doesn't, so the reader can put themselves in his shoes. But I'm wrong, aren't I? This ain't a dream, this feels real, and in my hands I have feeling, I can taste things too. Sorry, I said something weird. That was all just a small prank of an author. Forget about it.
The shadow disappeared from Soyo's face and was replaced by a bright smile.
By the way, Blanco, did you come to lend me a hand?
Should we go with the other option? Use me, please, and thank you. Let's go!
Oh, you should have told me sooner. Alright, I'll let you get to it.
As I cleaned books under Sima's guidance, a single small pamphlet caught my eye. It was a simple pamphlet made by stapling printer paper. It brought me on the nostalgia of a homemade project for school. Just who made it? It was simply displayed on the corner table, and feeling drawn to it, I picked it up before I knew it.
You interested in that one, Blanco? I wrote that if you want to. Blanco, do you wanna read it? My story, I mean.
Yeah! Let's go! Shima, do you want to celebrate with me after this event? Wow, it's creepy. Somehow their conversation was... That's the creepy smile. You're amazing, Shima. I wish I could be like you. You're cute and you could write too. Something was off. I felt something was wrong while talking to the man. Do you have a boyfriend? Answer him yes. She had a bad feeling, a sifting feeling of inferiority washed over her. Hey, I have fallen for you, Shima. It was at that moment she realized. It wasn't the girl's works that the man had been looking at, it had been her.
I'm afraid I'm not following.
I'm in love with you. At first I thought I'd just read your stuff, but now I'm in love with the author behind the books.
She did not want this. She couldn't let this continue. She had to distance herself from him. She had made a mistake. She had ended up becoming good friends with the person who had said he was a fan of her work. Yeah. She must have been happy. Happy to have someone, a friend, to validate her. She was conceited, and because of that she caused a misunderstanding.
I won't see you again, I'm sorry. You were interested in me, weren't you? I thought it was my work love, but I was wrong. That's why I won't be meeting you again. Please don't talk to me ever again.
The misunderstanding had to end right then and there. The girl couldn't remember the man's expression. He had been surprised, most likely.
What a shame, really.
She hadn't looked at his face. She couldn't. If she did, she might have been hurt too. A few months passed since the girl said farewell to the man. There would never be communication between them again. They wouldn't hear each other's voice nor see their faces. The girl had nearly forgotten the man's existence. She came home as usual after finishing her part-time job. It was coming home that she came upon an unusual scene. There was a paper bag hanging from the doorknob. What was it? No. Stop. She had an inkling of what it was. She knew, but she didn't want to acknowledge it. She wanted to be some mistake. Her heart pounded noisily in her chest. She could feel her heartbeat quicken naturally. She was afraid. Fearfully, she peered into the bag. In the paper bag, there was a box cake and a letter. On the face of the letter was a few words scrawled messily.
Happy birthday, Shima.
Disgusting. His affection for her was. The way his eyes looked on her, his gaze, it disgusted her to no end. It wasn't like that. She hadn't meant it that way. She didn't want it to be like that with him. No. She hadn't meant to fish for men by writing. Well, yeah. She wanted someone to acknowledge her. She wanted to make friends. That was all she wanted. And yet... here she was, crushed underneath such a small happening. She felt brainless, and it frustrated her. She felt as she had trampled on her work up until the present.
I knew it. I knew from the start that I didn't have a shred of talent. I knew I couldn't write a single thing that most people...
Just why did she have to suffer so much? Why did she have to crawl the earth like a bug no matter where she went? Did she have to acknowledge she was worthless? She wasn't worthless.
What did you think?
I closed the book, having read it to the end.
Do you read or write, Blanco? You see,
I just read.
I see. A long time ago, before I even realized it, I was writing in my school notes during class. In the beginning, the writing had no meat to it. Actually, it might have been an escape from reality, because I didn't like school. I didn't have friends.
I couldn't believe it. Sima, the center of the smiles in this castle. I found it hard to believe that this girl, who brightened her surroundings like Sima, could have such a dark past. And you never know, right?
Fragmented chapters began to take shape, eventually become enough to call a novel. Now writing is like the cornerstone of my life. It's hard to put into words, but when I'm done writing, I feel refreshed. Like I said goodbye to my sad past and forgot all about it.
Sima put on a lonely smile and continued.
There is a sequel to this story. Do you wanna know what happens to her? I haven't shown it to anyone. The ending.
I was told this and handed another pamphlet. I understood its wave as soon as I held it in my hands. It must have been Sima's heart and soul in it. I had an inkling of what it meant to read it. I hardened my resolve and opened the pamphlet. What's next? Oi, are you kidding me?
No, stop, quit, let me go!
My wrists were pinned down, I couldn't move. Men were really that strong. I flailed my legs and attempted to keep my sailor off, but wasn't able to throw off the sturdy body. That bastard. It happened while I was headed home from work. I'd always used a lightless shortcut to go home, thinking that it was a careless thing to do, especially after receiving the present. I should have been more careful. He had known where I was headed. He'd waited for me. That bastard. The lowest of lows come.
Don't worry, it will end soon, okay?
Can someone just go and slay him? Despair began to overtake her brain. First, she lost the sight and then blacked out. Huh? No, please no.
She's like a boy cross.
What are you talking about?
Right, let's ignore her.
Huh? No, I didn't want to remember my school years.
Look, she's back.
Stop cornering me!
My bullying wasn't as clear-cut as dramas. What happened to me was fraught with malice. My belongings disappeared and I was treated as I was invisible, and I also was insulted specifically where I could hear. The fact that this was all done behind the teacher's back made it worse. It's ridiculous, by the way. On the other hand, I mean, I've never experienced nor seen anyone experience bullying, to be fair, in any way. No, I think I went to good schools, kind of, in that matter. Like somehow everyone got along with everyone. Anyway, nobody could help her. I mean, yeah. From the teacher's eyes, I was most likely seen as a sad loner without friends. Well, they should talk about it. That wasn't exactly wrong. It wasn't wrong, but it wasn't right.
If I have to go through this, I'd rather die.
Eventually I stopped going to school. That was how I kept living. In order to live and in order to run away from my despair, I chose to escape it all. My mom often criticized me. Yet all the other kids my age were able to go to school as usual. Why was her kid the only one not going? Why was she the one made with faulty parts? Why couldn't she do the obvious? My mother, while scolding me, was what she was thinking.
Why can't you get along with anyone? Go to school, get going and fight!
I mean, technically, I would say probably one of the best solutions, I guess, to that is actually to fight back, yeah? But, I mean, don't ask me. As I said, I have not been someone who experienced it or seen someone experience it. Your mother was bullied too back then, and I still kept going because if I did, that would be accepting failure, so why can't you do the same? My mom slapped me hard. Wow. That's shitty parenting also, by the way. Sometimes she would punch me too. Once she emptied an entire bucket of water over my head, and it only escalated from there. Wow. Garbage, that mother. I was slowly losing my rights as a human being. But I was stubborn. No matter what happened to me, I didn't want to go. I wanted to avert my eyes from what made me hurt to the point I wanted to die. It was possible that my mother had wanted her useless daughter to breathe her last breath. She wanted me to die dead. That's why she told me I had to go to school.
No, I don't wanna go, I'm gonna if I'm gonna go to school, I might as well die.
Nobody understood me. Eventually I didn't have enough credits and I dropped out. My mother didn't say anything after that. She had given up on me, I thought. Oh, so that was it. She had been disappointed with me from her very core. That's what I had thought. But I didn't have a choice. Cut me some slack. I couldn't handle the pain when it hurt even more than death would. My heart ached with pain enough that I wanted to scream. It was anguish. I had been ignored at school, but from then on I didn't have to worry about any of that. The price I had paid was the same treatment from my mother. It was because I was useless. It was because I had nothing special to my name. I was tired. Things sunk into the darkness, as if I was being drowned in a swamp. I escaped from society, all on my lonesome. I was afraid that I would never return to normal. I didn't know what would happen next. I wanted to die, and fast. In the midst of all of that, I found my very own light that was also garbage. I had felt my existence validated for the very first time. I felt that I had been given something for all my suffering. But reality wasn't so kind. It was all electric. His passion wasn't directed at my works. I got ahead of myself when I felt like I received acceptance. No, the man had been making a fool of me. He sneered at my determination. What was happening was only putting a curse on my soul. That's why. That's why.
Huh? I killed him? Me? Why?
I mean, to be honest, he deserved it. An ocean of blood had spread before me. A pen was gripped in my fist. It was the fountain pen I'd always used to write novels. Blood was dripping from its knife-sharp tip. What? I did him in? Me? Something unthinkable had happened. I couldn't stop myself from shaking. Eventually, I forced myself to calm down and remember what had happened.
Oh, I mean, he almost did something really terrible. And when
I mean, you probably know. You know, it's the lowest of low a man can do. I let out the event in my mind and finally understood.
I get it. I killed someone.
I mean, to be honest, I would really prefer him to suffer a bit. But, I mean... I finished reading and closed the booklet. A grandiose story of an individual's life. The story of a girl who couldn't be saved. What should be said? I had a hunch since reading the first book, that's right. That's right, this story was written as if Sima was the protagonist. It's almost like this story is the girl in this possibly... I mean, it's definitely her. Let's go with first time. It's almost like this story is...
That's right. This is my story. It's about the crime I committed. What I did can't be forgiven. I know that much. The reality is that I think I wanted someone to look at this and get someone to forgive me. Blanco, what did you think about me? You're judging me, aren't you?
No, I'm judging the guy. I'll forgive you. Murderers aren't forgiven. I don't know, man. In my eyes, she was protecting herself the way she could. I'll forgive you.
Blanco, you're too nice. A murder like me deserves worse.
I couldn't speak badly of those who had sinned, as I hadn't even remembered my own. And to persecute someone else would be... Sima had known... had showed me kindness when I was lost and had amnesia. I mean, you are still with amnesia. Who could persecute this girl who had been so generous to me? However, I could choose to forgive her, even if it wasn't given forgiveness by another. Even if I wasn't. I could give a simple act of choosing to forgive someone important to me. Someone who was suffering with the burden of their sin. I mean, I don't know. It happened. I don't think she did anything wrong, basically, to be fair. This was the best I could offer at the time.
But if you have been with me, Blanco, I feel like I could forgive myself and my past and everything else too. Hey, could you stay with us here from now on?
I nodded silently. There was no reason to refuse, was there? From here on, our future was starting now. We'd only just begun.
Thanks, Blanco.
Sima smiled at me, tears in her eyes. She was smiling, certainly, but she seemed a little lonely somehow. When would I see her smile from the bottom of her heart? I didn't need to worry if me, Sima, and the other two were together. Sometime, someday, we would build a heaven overgrowing with gardenias. Infertile ground could change, surely.
Satori, that's my actual name. From here on, I want you to call me by it.
We would let it build up. Fun memories, happy happenings. We would experience it together. We'd share it all. I would forgive her crimes. Bad end! What? Are you kidding me? Seriously? I can't agree with that. Ah, that's so weird. I still think she did nothing wrong. Anyway, let's load the choice and I guess go with the other option. Even though it's not a good option. Okay, let's see what's hidden here. How is that a bad end? Sima stumbled to her feet and suddenly grasped me by the collar, bursting into maniacal laughter.
You're a liar! 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 I shouldn't have shown my story to anyone. The only person who can trust in this world is yourself, don't you think? You're awful. There's no gods out here. They won't save me. Nobody understands me. I can't get forgiveness. If I knew the truth, I'd just be judged and sneer upon. They all say I'm a murderer. Hey, isn't that the truth? Open your mouth and say for once. I won't be forgiven anyway. I shouldn't be here. I'm not needed. Aren't I right, Blanco? Tell me something, Blanco. What do I gotta to be forgiven? What do I gotta do to be free? What was I supposed to do? Hey!
Again, I'm saying that she did nothing wrong.
Alright, what do you think I did with the body, huh? See, back then, after the whole bunch of it, I wondered just where I could dispose of a corpse. It's always when you think about it, you don't hide it in the mountains or the sea, not even the forest. Corpses are meant to be put in a grave. Aren't I smart? I wonder why I didn't realize it until then. Of course I laughed when I came up with the idea. I mean, isn't it plain cut that what is going graves?
What was happening? Why did it get to this point? Stop it already. I was losing my sanity. This had to be some kind of mistake. Sima, who had a smile like the sun, wouldn't corner me like this. I had remained motionless with Sima's grip tight to my collar. Before I saw a chance and took it, I pushed her with all my might.
Oh! What are you? Blanco, you pushed the girl!
I only realized then that the fearsome thing that I had done. She was a girl. Even if it was self-defense, it was wrong of me. A man to hurt a girl. I guess. I mean, but then again, it was self-defense. I still think she did nothing wrong back then.
I get it. It's just like you. You don't try to understand me and want things to go your way.
Her hands reached out to my neck. Sima's eyes pierced mine. I wasn't able to look away. Under that pressure, my knees were ready to buckle. I had no escape.
Why don't I kill you too, huh? I've already sinned. It doesn't mean much if I let another murder the pine. I gave up on being human already.
No, you didn't. Sima strengthened her grip. My conscience was slowly fading as my neck was strangled. She was going to kill me.
I'll judge you for your sins. I'm the god of this world. I'm the creator. Understand?
Her sinister voice was fading. When I awoke, Sima was no longer there. It appeared that I had collapsed on the floor of the library. Had that just been a nightmare? That must have been it, surely. The bright and caring Sima couldn't have done what had happened to me. She wouldn't have tried to murder me. I didn't want to believe such a thing. I wanted it all to be some kind of mistake. I needed a change of pace, so I headed to the baths for a shower. But it was there that I realized what I had seen was not a dream. Looking into the mirror, a mark around my neck was plain to see. Plain to see? Was plain to see, probably. Sima tried to kill me and then disappeared. I searched around the castle for her but came up with nothing. She was nowhere to be found. Both Soyo and Liv told me they hadn't seen her since the afternoon. The last person to have seen her was me. Why? Why did she stop herself in the middle of trying to murder me? Or was I supposed to have died but survived on a mere miracle? But that was only part of it. Without Sima, it was impossible to know what her disappearance meant and why it happened in the first place. Why did things get to be like this? Was it my appearance that changed everything? Was it my fault? The peace was disturbed. In the night, while everyone slept, I gathered my heavy feet to the garden. It was just a hunch. I didn't expect anything, but I had the feeling that I could meet Sima there. I felt like I could see her there, caring for the flowers like she always had. Opposing my wishes, the gardenias in the garden were wilted. The plants were hunched over the earth, the inside of the buds never having seen the light, yet Sima had given them so much attention. I had a bad feeling. Something was going to happen, and it wasn't good.
The gardenia.
I jumped when someone suddenly spoke behind me. When I turned around, the girl in white stood before me, not Sima.
It's said to be grown in heaven. I see they have wilted. I wonder if she had wanted this place to be a heaven.
The girl seemed taken aback as I kneeled before the flowers, as if to pray or mourn.
My, what causes you to be so gloomy?
It's my fault she appeared. I made her angry.
Maybe she's still around.
Her disappearance is not your fault. I said it, did I not? That place will absolve you of all your crimes. You are free to do as you please here. She had given up her humanity. Those of the human race who choose to kill their fellow men can no longer be called human.
Okay, over there, still, I believe she did nothing wrong.
Is it not the obvious conclusion? You two could not meet eye to eye. You two live in a very different world from the beginning.
Actually, that's not true, because no matter how you look at it, the first time I chose a different option.
But you don't know it. Vanilla.
Humans cannot become God. Sima had yet to realize she was the one to be judged. Before she disappeared, I believe.
Where did she go? Why did she disappear? I want to go. I want to go. I want to know where she went.
Her existence returned to nothingness. This was both an eventuality and a choice of her own. Neither you nor I could do anything to stop it. I've told you this before, however. Do be sure not to become too emotionally invested in the others. Your unnecessary conclusions will not lead to self-destruction.
What Vanilla said was true. She was right, and yet I couldn't accept what had happened to Sima. I couldn't say farewell to her so easily. She had been so important to both Soyo and Lilith. They would be shocked to hear about her disappearance. It was true that what she had done was wrong, but I had been a part of it, too. This wasn't just her problem. You cannot know what person will do when they are cornered. Her state of mind neared collapse, and she was almost dirtied in both mind and body. She nearly lost her human rights and sense of self. She scraped up the pieces of her life to live in hardship. By putting her regrets and difficulties on a page, she was writing a message to society. What She had been shouting her heart, that had become words and then a novel. That novel was her own life. That was incredible in itself. Even in pain, she struggled to send a message. She sought out help. That required courage. Why couldn't I have accepted her then? I did, for I did. I slipped into bed frustrated, not ready to sleep. Would I be able to rest like this? Actually, would I have a nightmare in the state I was in? I didn't want to be shown anything worse than what I had already seen. I didn't want to get along with everyone and live in peace, yet the peace had ended, and violently. That was wrong. In truth, I had been the one to end it. It was my fault. If I had shown her forgiveness in that moment. As I laid in thought, light began to die in the horizon. Soon, it would be morning. A morning of despair. She did nothing wrong. In that garden, not one voice was heard. Only sound of the breeze whooshing past could be heard. In that field where white flowers bloomed, a girl was spread out on the ground.
Hey God, why can't I be forgiven? I was just happy, making the things I like, the way I like. I was just happy with that. I didn't need anything else.
Despite saying that, she knew it wasn't true. It was a lie, that all she wanted was to create. The truth was, she wanted acceptance from someone. She wanted to be complimented, and she wanted feedback. That was it. She wanted assurance that she was creating something unique to herself. She wanted assurance that she herself was one of a kind. Essentially, she wanted someone to tell her that they were glad she was born, that it was okay for her to keep on living. She wanted to be accepted by someone.
I must have wanted a friend.
You could smile a lonely smile on your own, but nobody would respond. You would only hear the sounds of the breeze. The girl knew this. She had only been speaking to herself. It was all her fault that things had turned out badly, and no, it was not her fault. The things that had been no one's fault. She wanted to pin them onto someone. Come on. All was started by that bastard that approached her like that. And then tried doing something terrible. She wanted to be free of responsibility. She wanted to feel a bit better about herself. There was one thing that had bothered her while she spoke to Blanco. A memory that she had forgotten the peacefulness of her daily life in the castle. A memory that should have stayed buried in the dark.
Why did I come here?
She killed the man that had tried to... And then, what happened to her? She without a doubt remembered killing that man without meaning to in her struggle, for she couldn't recall the details. She had been digging in the dirt to bury the body in the grave. She recalled being drenched in sweat.
Huh?
But she could not recall what happened after. How did she come to this place? What had brought her here? What she could remember was it was downpouring of rain, and the mood in the cemetery being slippery.
Oh, I get it. Oh, man. That's it.
Don't tell me something happened like in Enigma. She closed her eyes, she took in a deep breath and filled her lungs with a sweet aroma around her. She hoped that the fragrance had poison. If it did, then she hoped it would fill the hole inside when she could. When she realized the truth, the girl felt worthless. She had lost any meaning in the time she was spending here. Her hard work too had been for nothing. She had hoped that the place where she was headed was heaven. She had worked hard to fulfill that goal in life. She had worked to create, but the reality was cruel and unforgiving. She would disappear, no matter who mourned, ignoring what she had left behind. All would lose meaning. She would accept everything. Oh, her hair changed. She did nothing wrong. Okay, tomorrow chapter 3. Hope to see you there. Have a wonderful day. Damn, this game is good. Bye bye.